George Cappanelli. Welcome to this edition of Ageless Living, the Wisdom Series. It's a time where Sedena and I and our dog sometimes have an opportunity to talk to friends and colleagues and wonderful authors and experts from around the world who have great insight, great life strategies, and wonderful inspiration to share with us to help us all lead more empowered, more inspired, better balanced, and healthier lives. And today it's really our pleasure and our privilege to be joined by John Gray.
Welcome, John. So happy.
Well, thank you so much. It's really my pleasure to be with you again.
Wonderful to see you. And John Gray, as many of you know, is the author of over 20 books, including the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. I don't know anybody who doesn't know that book. USA Today listed this book as one of the top 10 most influential books of the last quarter century. John has appeared repeatedly on The Oprah Show, Dr. Oz, Today, CBS, This Morning, Good Morning America, and others. And he's been profiled in Times, Forbes, USA Today, and People. He was also the subject of a 3-hour special hosted by Barbara Walters.
So in addition, John is one of the featured authors in our Ageless Living Television Series. He has a 2-part program based on his latest book, Beyond Mars and Venus. And I can't encourage you enough to check your local PBS guides for the series. You'll be so glad that you watched this intimate, touching, powerful program that John delivered. And if for some reason it's not on your local station, call them and say, you know, we're waiting. It's a wonderful series and we can't wait to see John and the other authors in the series. So again, John, it's a pleasure to be with you. We're glad to see you ensconced at home at this time. And we know you're doing a lot of these interviews. So thank you for taking time to be with us.
Thanks so much. Yeah, this will be great for our audience. Hey, John,
so many people are confined to their houses now. This is a time of crisis. It's a time of challenge. Challenge means we can thrive, we can grow, or we can go the other direction. And I have a lot to say about it. So I'm really excited to help couples and individuals at this time. Because what we need is the information to deal with it, because this is something we're not used to. Some statistics is in Wuhan, in China, where it all started. People went into the quarantine first. When they started coming out, the divorce rates went from the average in Wuhan to about 12 a week. It went to 300 a week. And there's pictures of people, long lines of people now trying to get divorced. I mean, this is like, yes, because it's a problem for couples. If they don't have the right skills, being together can be one of the worst things ever. You feel suffocated, you start getting emotional, you start feeling irritated. It's literally as if somebody's poking at you, and then you have time to get unpoked. Now they're poking and poking and poking and poking and poking. We literally become allergic to our partners, and it becomes a hyper reaction to them. And there's a way we can go the other direction, and once we have the understanding of what our new challenge is and how to overcome it.
Right. Well, it's clearly an unprecedented time in our world. Who knew that the world was going to be shut down literally for 40 days or more? And so continue on and tell us some of your thoughts about this time, please.
Well, it's literally, I mean, it comes back to the presentation I gave for Ageless Living. If we want to live long and be healthy and happy, we have to recognize there are forces against that. The aging force is one of them. Sickness and disease, all these things can hold us back. And it's completely dependent upon who we are. And that's what so many of the speakers were talking about, how we think, how we interact, our belief systems. It's just such powerful information to recognize we have the power in ourself, in our spirit, our mind, however we want to look at it, to control the body, or the body controls us. And when we're in a state of fight or flight, when we're in a state of uncertainty, most people, our brains go into a fight or flight reaction. And as far as aging goes, that accelerates aging. And also, as far as challenges in relationships, it dramatically increases the challenges in our relationships. See, when we're in love with somebody, and love is the answer. Okay, love, we connect, we love each other, we enjoy each other, we depend on each other, we appreciate each other, we're intimate with each other, physically intimate with each other. These are like these huge blessings of finding somebody that we feel safe to open our heart to. Because if you don't, you have to feel safe to open your heart, because opening your heart means I'm letting you influence me. Okay, that's it. I'm letting you in. That's what physical intimacy is, emotional intimacy. I'm letting you build me higher, and as opposed to I can do it myself. I can do it myself. Now there's a place in life which is I can do it myself, and then there's a place where we let others enter in and do it for us, and that's what a relationship is. And you find somebody where you feel safe to open up, because once you open up, what happens is, if your partner thinks that you're a wonderful person, you believe it. You go, yes, I'm a wonderful person. Because, people talk about self-realization, enlightenment. It's really knowing who you are. And knowing who you are is particularly to know your highest and best qualities can be through the eyes of another.
Yes.
You see, we look in a mirror and someone looks at us, if I'm in an audience and they're all applauding me, I go, oh, I'm a great teacher. I'm wonderful, but just when we were talking before doing the show today, you were talking about how moved people were by my presentation and Ageless Living. And it just touched me so much. It brought me back to that time where I really needed to hear that. I needed to experience that, because that was a time after my wife had died of cancer. And that was very suddenly after it. And we'd already scheduled it. My wife wanted me to go. And even though she passed, so I was extremely vulnerable. And that vulnerable state is like, who am I? And you are dependent upon someone to say, yes, you are good. Yes, you're wonderful. Yes, you're lovable. Yes, you're worthy. Yes, you're good enough. These are like themes. And that vulnerability is actually the part of us which is so authentic, because we come into this world as little children. We're connected to spirit 100%. Children just radiate. You just connect with children. You feel so good with that spirit, but they have no idea who they are. We are dependent on our parents and how they look at us, how they treat us, to know what we're worthy of, what we need. And so this is this vulnerable state where we're most connected to ourselves, where we are dependent, but also dependent on ourselves as well. If we're getting negative messages, we have to learn not to take it personally. If we're getting positive messages, we learn how to take it personally. So that's called integrating our own self-knowledge with allowing others to have a positive effect on us. And that's what our relationships are, like a training ground for that, as well as a nourishment for that. And every relationship, an intimate adult relationship, I'll focus on that for a moment, is in that relationship, the precursor to having a successful relationship is to know that you are worthy of love, that you do have self-love. And then from that place of feeling love, you can give love freely. If you have $1 million in the bank, it's easy to give donations. Okay. It's easy to overflow and help you. Yeah. Oh, no problem. I'll give you this. People say I'm so generous, but actually I have so much I can overflow. I feel a little selfish, because then I get to feel even more wonderful giving. So this is, if you're full inside, you overflow. And that's ultimately what falling in love is we're overflowing. We're allowing ourselves to give someone, all of us, which means we open up fully, but then we're at the effect of someone. So they can take us higher, or when we open up, they can take us down.
Yeah.
So this is a dance of intimacy. And in a normal situation, not the situation we're in now, in a normal situation, a healthy relationship we could define is 80% of your own sense of happiness and fulfillment comes from your own choices, behaviors, actions, thought processes, and experiences that are not dependent in any way on your partner. What you're dependent on for your partner is only 20% of your fulfillment. And so what happens is you have this life, and I'm a successful guy. I've got friends, I've got children, I've got my work, I've got my meditation, I have my spiritual practices, I have my exercise, I have my good diet, my health, all these good things I do to be a whole person. Then that's 80%.
Right.
Then in my relationship, I give of myself and receive back. I give of myself, receive back. And that's the 20%. And as long as I've got the foundation of 80%, that all works. But it's when we're looking to our partner for too much, we become needy,
Right.
we become demanding. And at that point, where we're not getting what we expect to get from our partner, what happens is we activate a fight or flight of a child. See, the child is fully dependent on the parent. And that we call the limbic system of the brain. And that's the fight or flight center of the brain as well. So when we're in a place of uncertainty, we're like children. We don't know what's going to happen. That part of the brain activates. We're in fight or flight. And fight or flight, our heart closes to our partner. See, this is what's going on, is that when you're in fight or flight, you're no longer in this front part of the brain, the adult part of your brain that can choose to freely give love. You're in a place which says, I need love. I need love. You must give me more. I need more. I'm not getting enough. So you're looking to your partner like a child looking to a mother or father. You should give to me. But if you don't give to me, then I'm angry with you. I feel hurt. I feel betrayed. I feel sad. And we may not be aware of all these. Here are some of the symptoms of fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
What happens for women particularly is a bias towards negativity. In fight or flight, she's going to look at everything which is not good enough. Everything which is not good enough. She'll look at her body and she'll see the wrinkles will suddenly become bigger. Okay, she'll look at the house and say, oh, but that little dirt over there, I can't relax until I get every little piece of dirt out of that. It's a bias towards looking at problems and feeling powerless to get what you need. Okay, so you look too closely at things. You go in too far, as opposed to letting people give to you. You become overwhelmed doing for others, thinking about others, worrying about others. That's the fight or flight, various reactions in women. And for men, fight or flight, if there's nothing you can do about it, if there's something you can do, in fight or flight, men rise to the occasion, they want to go put out the fire. But if they feel powerless to do it, then suddenly that's where the real cortisol hormone gets produced. That's the fight or flight hormone. So symptoms for men of fight or flight are hyper emotionality. They will tend to become super angry. They will tend to become super resistant to support. They will become demanding. They will become nothing is good enough. They can become passive. They can become irritable. They become grumpy. Their heart closes. And bottom line, for both men and women under fight or flight, blood flow stops to the front part of the brain, which is where we connect to our higher self. Higher self is spirit. It's the part of us that can choose what to do as opposed to automatically react. You see, reactions are programmed into us. Choosing means let me respond. So making a distinction there. Responding is, all right, I have a reaction inside, but what's the best way to deal with that? And what's underneath maybe anger is something I want. What's the best way to get what I want? Oh, the best way to get what I want is not to demand, but actually to give a little more and then ask for what I need in a nice way, or be patient. So a lot of adaptations that we have as intelligent human beings, when we react, we have none of that. We're basically a 3-year-old child. It's the limbic system reacting. And the limbic system, when we're feeling threatened and we don't have answers, we don't know what's going to happen, limbic system goes off. So now when we look at men and women, we'll go into my specialty here, which is the gender differences. We know that when women are in fight or flight, their hormones go out of balance. What happens is for women, that sense of the hormone testosterone starts being produced and estrogen goes down. Mm-hmm. Now, why is that significant? Because for men, it's the opposite. For men, when they're in fight or flight, their estrogen goes up. They're making estrogen and their testosterone goes down. Now, why that's important to know is there's things you can do as women when you're in fight or flight to raise your estrogen and lower your testosterone. And there's things men can do to raise their testosterone and lower their estrogen. So that's our objective. In fight or flight, as a man, I must do things that will raise my testosterone, and fight or flight goes away. Even if I don't know what's happening or what's going to happen in the face of all problems, if I'm doing something to generate testosterone, I cannot make the cortisol. And for women, if they do things to generate the estrogen, they will not make the testosterone that throws them out of balance. So this is all basically indisputable knowledge of how men and women are different, which is why I like it. Because for years I can talk about how our brains are different, and people say, oh, that's junk science, that nobody really knows, the brain is so complicated. So I backed off from that, although it's very interesting to see our brain differences, and I love it. Now other books have been written about it. But I went to hormones, because nobody can dispute, we know a simple test. When a woman is depressed, her estrogen levels will be too high. Her estrogen levels will be too low during part of her cycle. And if she's depressed in the second part of her cycle, her progesterone levels are too low. So we know this. This is biology. And those hormones have little effect on men. When a man has well-being, his testosterone will be 10 times higher than a woman. And for a woman, if she's having well-being, her estrogen or progesterone will be 10 times higher than a man. So we can see there's this biological imperative that we balance our lives to find happiness in different ways. If we're in balance, then men and women are practically the same. Well, you know, people say today, oh, what's the big difference? Well, when we're feeling happy and fulfilled, we're pretty much the same. But when we're feeling stress, kabang, we have different stress reactions. So one of the popular ideas of Men Are From Mars, which is very helpful now, is when men are stressed, they often go to their cave. That means they withdraw. Now, what does withdrawing mean? It means you pull back from connection. Connection is estrogen. Separation is testosterone. So if a man has low testosterone, he will tend to pull away from connection in whatever way he can and withdraw. And that's the opposite reaction women will first have. They can have that reaction, but it's secondary. A woman's first reaction is and she's under stress, she often wants to talk, she wants to share. If she feels safe, but also in danger, but I've got, safety and danger, I've got protection. It's like if you're driving in a car, we're always in danger, but we also feel safe because we're in control. So if a woman feels threat, but also feels the protection is there, her estrogen levels will go up. And one of the things that increases estrogen that we now know is if a woman can talk about her feelings and feel heard. But if a man's in his cave, he cannot hear your feelings. And he needs to separate and you need to connect. You see, when you share feelings, you're connecting, you produce estrogen. Literally, you're having someone come inside of you. That's why talking is so powerful. If someone comes inside, and particularly the vulnerable part of you, come inside my feelings, what's going on inside of me that I normally would not share with the outer world, that makes even a bigger estrogen stimulator. So women often want to talk, and men, they pull away. And that's what's happening right now until women go, oh, he doesn't want to listen to me right now. And so she feels hurt, and now she's going to punish him and not talk to him. And what happens when women don't talk is their estrogen goes down, testosterone goes up, they worry more, and they're busy. So they stay really, really busy trying to fix things, solve things. They can't relax, and they worry and they worry. And then they look at the guy, and he's sitting there watching TV, and she's mad at him for just sitting there watching TV, doing nothing. But he has nothing to do. You see, he needs to make his testosterone. So if there's nothing he can do, we'll look at what he can do, by the way. In this short period of time, there's things we can do to supercharge a man's testosterone. But see, normally, he's out 80% of his life is about making testosterone, making a difference in a variety of different ways. He goes to the gym, he makes a difference. He drives his car, he's using his testosterone, he's making testosterone. He has a job, he's making testosterone. He has his children, he's taking care of them, doing things. So whenever men are solving problems, testosterone goes up, and then they run out of it and they go to their cave to rebuild it. But if you don't use it up, you go to your cave, it doesn't rebuild. So a lot of men are just stuck in the cave, withdrawn. They're not able to reproduce their testosterone, so that then they rebuild by going into the cave. So this is a big, big challenge. And a little bit of understanding of hormones helps us to make sense so that we realize we're really pushing ourselves out of balance. And when you're out of balance, don't believe what you feel. Don't believe what you think. We're all tempered a little crazy right now if you're having negative thoughts and beliefs. And here's what will happen for men, and here's what will happen for women quite commonly. Don't believe it, but it's what you're going to feel. Men will start to feel like my wife, nothing I do ever makes her happy. There's nothing that can do. Why do I want to be with such an unhappy person? Why do I want to be with somebody who just doesn't appreciate what I do? Why do I want to be with somebody who wants to change me? So that's the reaction you're going to have when your testosterone levels are just too low. If there was a fire and you could go put out the fire, all those thoughts will go away. And your memory would now remember why you're with her. And she's amazing. She's not unhappy all the time. But this is a time where you have to just be patient to get through this thing. I call on patience. It's a power within all of us. Be patient. Don't demand, don't believe what we feel or think. So you're just going to go into forgetting all the good things in your partner when you're in fight or flight. The brain goes into a bias to remembering the past. Now, for women, it goes into a bias of the past. For men, it goes particularly into a bias about right now. Oh, there's nothing I can do to make her happy. Why do I even bother? Now, if she starts to complain, then what happens, what her mind goes into, and let's just identify the stress reaction for women that you don't want to buy into. You don't want to believe the truth of it. It's an illusion. It's the brain misfiring channels that are just not healthy for productivity and your happiness and so forth. They're lies. It's fake news. Fake news. So what happens for women is this feeling you'll start to have, which is, I do so much for him. I do so much and nobody helps me. He doesn't help me. He doesn't care. He's not there for me. I don't even know why I married him. I don't know if I ever loved him. You know, he's just lazy. He's not safe. I can't talk to him at all. I can't ask for help. I have to do everything myself. I give and I give. And look what I get back. Why do I even bother with him? No matter what I do, he just stays worse. So that's that powerlessness that women will get into. And these are channels in our brain that right now we're making stronger if we believe those things. And what it means to believe on something is to act on it. So that's called reaction. Those are reactions. They just pop up. You want to be aware of them like a little child throwing a tantrum. That's it. The child throws the tantrum. I want my ice cream. I want my ice cream. And they're crying. Don't give them the ice cream. Listen to their feelings. That's what they really need at those times. Is not immediate gratification. What they need is to be heard. But now if a woman's in that place, she's going to feel this urge, I've got to connect. Because remember, connection creates estrogen. Don't connect with him. 80% of your connection needs to go from somebody else. So you need to go online, take a yoga class, take an exercise class, an aerobics class. Anytime you're learning something, you go out of fight or flight back in the front part of the brain. And particularly if you're learning, you're also producing estrogen if you need estrogen. If a man is learning something, he's thinking, okay, this is going to make me more powerful, or this is going to answer my solutions to problems. He's going to be making testosterone. So learning is the most powerful thing we can do at this time. What a great time to do it because, you know, we're stuck in the house. So let's just put on all these courses, take courses. Another thing, go on TikTok if you're my age. All these young people are teaching you dance moves. You know, my dance moves are all limited like the 60s. You know, you got all these new movements that they could do, and they'll show you in slow motion what they're doing, and then you can learn new movements. But new physical movements is also super powerful to counteract. The neural connectors are growing stronger. Every day we're living in fear. Every day that we're getting dopamine, sitting in front of a TV set for 6 hours listening to the news is growing neural connectors of looking at what's dangerous, looking at what's dangerous, looking at what's dangerous. And yet it's addictive because danger produces dopamine as well. The same brain chemical that great sex produces is dopamine. And also watching the news is now producing dopamine. And I had this experience the other night where I thought, okay, I did a whole bunch of these interviews. I'm doing a lot of online interviews right now for this technique I'm about to teach you for COVID. And it's a supercharge your hormones to come back to balance. But I thought, oh, I worked so hard today, I'm just going to go to my cave and watch a movie. Okay, like my reward. And then I went right to the news. I thought the news is more stimulating than a movie, because movies seem boring to me, because the news is a bigger dopamine stimulator. And now the pathway is going toward, I'm actually growing neural connectors if I watch too much negative news. As also, if I allow my negative emotions to control my behavior, I'm now growing these neural connectors in the wrong direction, cross-wiring the brain function. So now my partner becomes a source of irritation and annoyance to me. So if your partner is annoying you, say, stop, let me focus on something. If I'm a woman, that will produce estrogen. Go get in the bathtub, go call a girlfriend, go take a class, do breathing exercises. All those things help to bring you back into estrogen production. And for men, do something that's difficult, do something you're good at, or solve problems. For me, being in the home, a big testosterone producer is overcoming resistance. There's a lot of things we do as men that procrastinate. Well, everybody procrastinates. But if you overcome procrastination, you're producing testosterone. Anytime you do what I have to do. So what I realize now is what I have to do to produce testosterone is find things that I want to do that I'm not doing, that I don't like doing, and do them. So I'm like, cleaning out the garage. I'm getting rid of clutter. I'm going out there and breaking down all these boxes. I'm looking in the places, all the things that I avoid doing, I'm doing now because I have time to do it. But I'd rather just watch TV. I overcome my resistance. Anytime you overcome resistance, do the difficult thing, you're building testosterone. And I'm not doing it all the time. Then I get to relax, watch TV or read a book or something, make love, meditate. But I do the things that are difficult to do. To pump up testosterone. For some men, that would be just working out, doing your exercises, and pushing a little harder. If you meditate, do your meditation, but push a little longer. Okay, add more pressure to your life that you have to overcome, that you can overcome. So, just hold your hands up in the air. Actually, will boost your testosterone if you do this for 2 minutes. Okay, just hold your hands up like this as a man. Stand up and just feel like you're Atlas, holding your arms up, and do breathing. Your testosterone will temporarily double. I mean, it's amazing. Or stand like this, proud, and think of something, try to remember something you're really proud of, and hold, and then your brain feels like, I just did it. One of the things I do is I actually do strength training once a week, where you really push the weights hard. And I don't have those weights at home, but you can actually mentally do it and just do the whole 20-minute training with the machinery. I do in my mind. And that also helps the body. There's research showing if your mind thinks it, your body thinks it's happening. So then afterwards, my posture is good again. I feel better again. But then I also do some real physical exercise. Physical exercise is really important for men to boost their testosterone, and relaxing things really important for women to produce their estrogen. So I know my time is short, and maybe I feel like I didn't let you ask me questions, but you said it was 30 minutes, so I had to just throw it out here. Is that okay?
We love it.
John, it's, first of all, your passion and your enthusiasm for this subject lifts all of us.
It does. It's so
no wonder people come to you. I would like to ask one more question, though, and that is, when you quote the numbers in Wuhan about people having normal divorce rates and then this exaggerated divorce rate, as the country begins to talk about the eventuality of coming out of sheltering in place and all the rest of it, what can couples do that feel that they've broken down, that they've been living with the wrong person for the whole time? What can they do to reconnect, to give them the chance to do that rebalancing of their hormones, and perhaps to remember who they actually are?
Thank you so much for that. Now, first of all, my answer to that is, well, right now we are in our homes, in quarantine, separate from the world, depending too much on each other, interacting too much, and we need more space and we need better connection. So let me give you a game to play every day or every other day that will keep you from having that forgetfulness of why you married this person and realize this is the most beautiful person in the world for you and you adore and love them. Okay. Because you did. You knelt before them and she glowed and said, you're the man for me. We were there and we just forget that part of us. Okay. So how to bring back that memory. If you bring your hormones back to what it were then, you will remember. And then your brain literally remembers, oh yeah, I'm this spiritual being, I'm this great person, and these are all little problems. I can handle this and I can bring out the best in my partner. It's coming back to your authentic self, which is always giving and confident and reassuring and loving and kind and generous and all that, compassionate. So come back to that person. So this will do it. This is like such a fun game to play. It's the 20 minutes called A Genie in the Bottle. Okay, a genie is all powerful. That's masculine. Okay, that's look what I can do. I can fulfill your wishes. That's the man when he knelt before you and said, my life is for you. I surrender to you. I give my life to you. I go to battle. I'll die for you. This is masculinity. Not that you have to always die, but I give up myself. Selflessness and a heart open is masculinity. So he's a genie in the bottle. She has to rub the bottle though. So she has to first say, honey, he's in his cave. You just say, when you have a chance, I'd love to play the game. Okay. And then he chooses when he's going to play the game. She doesn't do it in a demanding way, in a casual way. Oh, anytime you're ready to do the game, I'd love to play. And you can agree on once every 2 days or once every day if you really like it. I do it every day. It's fun as can be. Now, genie in the bottle is she has to rub the bottle and the genie comes out and says, your wish is my command. I will do whatever you wish. Your pleasure is my pleasure. I love making you happy. And now her job is, Jeannie won't do anything and won't say that until she first asks him to do something. That's rubbing the bottle. Okay, genie in the bottle. She has to say, oh, I'd like you to wash the dishes. And within a 20-minute period of time, whatever she asks him to do, he will gladly do. And if you don't gladly feel it, pretend. Play the game. You're actors on a stage. You will do those things and you say those words and you will start to feel it. Your body will go, oh yes, I am the all-powerful genie. And the purpose, the more confident a man is, the more he wishes to serve, the more selfless you are. Selfish men are just insecure men. So here for 20 minutes, I'm willing to let you control me. I'm choosing for you to control me completely. I am your servant. Because see, most men hate being controlled, but you're actually not being controlled because you're choosing to play the game. So you're in control. It's just 20 minutes. You're doing what you love to do most anyway, is to make her happier. And her job is to do something most women don't do when they're stressed, which is ask for help or appreciate the help they get. So her job is to say lots of little things. Now, when it comes to estrogen production, that's what we're doing, is supercharging estrogen. If I was to give my wife 24 roses, she'd have a surge of estrogen. That's romantic. But I can give her 1 rose and the same amount of estrogen gets produced. So her objective is to have him to do as many little things as possible during that 20 minutes. Now, one of the things would not be, for example, oh, I want you to clean out the garage tomorrow, or I want you to talk to so-and-so about fixing the driveway. Well, he can't do that in those 20 minutes. So that you can't ask for anything that he can't immediately do for you. I'd like you to cook me some 3 eggs over easy and maybe the sausage from the freezer, thaw that out and maybe cook that. So whatever it might be, you ask him to do and he has to do within that period of time. And towards the end, you probably say something like, and I'd like you to go run the bath and light 4 candles around the bathtub and put on that particular music that I like and tell him. You have to give him instructions. The genie doesn't know you at all. He will just do what you ask him to do. So there's not like you can't go, well, you should know. You should know. He doesn't know anything about you, but he will respond to any request you have. Your job is to ask for lots of things within that 20-minute period of time. And at the end, you give a big hug. You can also do this in the bedroom. You could do it before you go to bed at night. You can go, oh, we're going to do 20 minutes. I like to have a nice massage. I'd like you first to take off this shirt. I want you to massage this or massage my feet. Everything is the 20 minutes. It's about him providing what her need is, her identifying and asking for what she needs. It will charge up the hormones, and that has to lower the stress levels. So our mind is no longer spinning over this automatic reaction of looking at the negative. We can now look at the positive.
Wow.
John.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Thank
you
you
so much.
So
giving everybody things to do. I just love it.
I I just want, on behalf of the Age Nation and Ageless Living audience, to thank you for your time.
So much.
You always give deeply from your heart. I want to encourage viewers to get John's book, Beyond Mars and Venus, and pay attention to his work online, because he offers deep stuff from the heart. And be sure to watch his Beyond Mars and Venus special 2-part in the Ageless Living series. You'll be so very glad.
Don't miss
that you
it.
have.
It's just beautiful,
Yes.
really.
So
We are so blessed with your generous teaching.
Thank you,
so
John.
much.
Thank you so much. And may we all continue to grow in ageless living and feel our youthful, alive self as we beautifully grow in wisdom and strength.
Thank you for that.
thank you so
And to
very,
you, my
very
friend.
much.